Hi, I'm Johnny Bolster. I'm owner and caretaker of Make It So, the Monadnock Makerspace. We're a community resource center for artists, crafters, and innovators of all walks of life. And we provide tools and workspace along with skill training to people like you. We're basically downtown Keene here. We have 8,500 square feet of this old building that was once the Eagle Hotel carriage house, and that hotel burned in the 50s and left this kind of a shell of a building left over. So we had a really great situation with the landowner, who's really philanthropic. They basically want to provide some kind of a space for artists to do their things. Pretty open-ended, old money, and want to do good with it. So
Nice.
they're not out to make a buck. They're out to really develop their legacy, and their name. Basically, we have workspace here for people, whatever they do. We've got a guy who does some basic cobbling of rollerblades.
Oh, cool.
He's a professional rollerblader, and is actually sponsored by Rollerblade Company. And he uses this area to grind out equipment so that it suits his needs. So he'll refabricate things so it fits his requirements. With just basic, he does some basic machining on the drill press there, and does a lot of forming with the sanding.
Does he do this just for his own personal equipment, or does he do this like for other people as a business?
At the moment, he does it for himself only, but he has ambitions to develop a company that uses a carbon fiber 3D printer that actually prints with continuous fiber, and we would be doing custom custom rollerblade cuffs,
Nice.
so that can form specifically to that individual's ankles. Because what you find a lot when people get into rollerblading for a while, they end up breaking their ankles a couple of times, and that causes all kinds of bone abnormalities. And so we'll be able to use 3D scanning and printing technology to be able to create one-offs that are custom designed to the individuals. We also have a space over here for people doing lamp work. I don't know if this is officially kosher with the city or not, as far as like fire code.
Well, that's agorism for you.
Yeah, we're just doing it, and a couple of guys just have, for a long time have not had a place of their own to be able to reliably do their work, and I was able to provide it to them pretty inexpensively.
Super valuable. A great thing to do.
Yeah, so we set up the fan in the window, and then we just go to town, and it's great because then I get access to it as well.
Yeah, and so do you also work with glass?
A little bit, yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is nothing much. I just made this little pear-shaped thing.
Neat. Well, that's more than I can do with it. I don't know anything about how it actually blows my mind what people are able to do with this stuff.
Yeah.
Like the detail they're able to put into there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
cool.
Pretty fantastic. Here's some of the work that they do. They do like pendants and things.
Yeah.
And, these are all like the things that busted up or whatever. But
Okay.
Little paperweights and stuff.
Nice.
So, yeah, it keeps us busy.
Yep.
And of course, they got their kiln set up. That's important for annealing things. So we don't necessarily provide equipment. If it's specialized stuff like this, then people just say, "Oh, I've got mine." They bring it in, they set it up, and then they cover the electric or whatever if it becomes a sizable expense. Some of the stuff I did bring, like I have this sanding belt that people make use in it. We actually had that. Actually, both of these items were donated by an individual who just said, "Hey, I used to have a shop in my garage, and now I'm downsizing to a condo, and I just don't have a place to put it." So they think of us. They think of the Makerspace.
That's a really cool thing to have yourself out there as if you have something that is still useful, but you don't have any use for it, bring it by, and we'll put it to good use.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Neat.
Exactly. So we've also got a space behind you here, just like a computer terminal where people can do digital design stuff, access the internet, that kind of thing.
Okay.
It's a little tricky because the building needs a lot of work, and so we've been focusing on fundraising efforts, which has caused us to be quite honest with you, I've sort of neglected the whole makerspace because I've been out there trying to
Right.
money.
You can't do both at the same time.
Right. Yeah. So picked a good time, sort of a lull right now, where we don't have a lot of member activity, so I can really focus on other things, and I'll show you that in a minute.
Okay.
But just to continue the tour, we try to do as much as we can with a small space. So this is just like a little meeting area where people can just kick back, take a nap on the couch if they have to.
Yeah.
Get together and chit chat. And then we have other workspace that can be made available as people require that. We got facilities there, that nothing to speak of by any means. Actually, I have to do some repairs in there, so it's not the best. But one of the ways that we generate cash, theoretically, if we can actually get into the black on this, this is the portal to art, innovation, and culture. So we basically started this regional map, which covers Keene and some of the surrounding communities.
So you all publicize this?
Yeah, I did all the artwork on this, and then this is the Greater Monadnock region, West River, and Route 2 corridor of the Pioneer Valley in Massachusetts, and then we sell ad space.
Okay.
So people pay between like $300 and $500, and then there's larger spaces available.
And these are distributed where, at like the visitor centers, or how do they get into the hands of the?
All over. We put them down into the suburbs of Boston, suburbs of Springfield. We put 30,000 total into those areas. 10,000 go into the north central Massachusetts area, like Northampton and Greenfield, and along the Route 2 corridor there. These are the areas where statistically people come from who frequent areas up here in the north. So yeah, we print up 80,000 copies total and get them out there to where people are. And, it's starting to catch on. You know, you're always going to run against someone who's just bitter about everything, and they're going to blame the people that are doing their advertising. It must be the reason we're failing,
Oh, I see. The people that pay money for advertising, and then they don't think they're getting enough return.
Right, and then they're like, oh, he's terrible, blah, blah, blah. Well, meanwhile, it's usually because they're just not doing what they need to be doing on their end. But yeah, we put out a solid product, and
that's nice.
We've actually got a couple of art critics in our back pocket who help us to develop this. So we're going to be making some alterations to it. And one of the features that we're planning on developing for a subsequent run will be an augmented reality app that works with the map.
Okay.
So basically, the app will recognize images on the map and use them like a QR code. Signals an HTML.
So you can go to a site and get more info.
Except with AR, it brings the site to the map. So and then some. It's not just a two-dimensional thing. You can actually create three-dimensional graphics that will superimpose themselves on the map via the camera app, and it affixes itself in the orientation on the map, so that if you're standing in any direction, you see that object. It creates a virtual hologram.
Wow, that's
which
pretty
is
cool.
Also interactive. So there's aspects of it where you can design where you can like tap on the physical map and it will signal things in the app saying, oh, you're tapping on that, and so therefore an animation will appear out of an ad or out of a particular feature on the map. So we feel like that's going to be the thing that really takes this way beyond our competitors.
Yeah.
And gets that level of interactiveness that we're really going to need. So it's good. We put out this map for the tri-state inland area here, and we're doing one for the seacoast as well, which covers Kittery down to Newburyport, which is a much more opulent area. And the potential between this one and that one, we're looking between. At full scale, we're looking between 30,000 and 80,000 a year per map. So that'll be a nice chunk of change that'll come in, and we're just going to continue to roll out new maps all the time. So we have 5, 6, 7 maps that are generating a good profit, so that we can support this project here at the Makerspace.
Very smart. And this is printed here, or do you outsource that to like you design it and then you just have a company ship?
Yeah, we shop around all the time. We're always trying to get our rates as low as possible. The best we've gotten is about $7,000 through our local newspaper.
Okay.
They outsource it as well, but they get really good deals because of the bulk and stuff like that. So we've gotten it down to about $7,000 so far. That's the lowest we've gotten so far. That's
the cost of producing the number you gave earlier of 80,000?
Yep. But then
it's really cheap, actually.
It's pretty cheap
per copy.
Yeah, exactly. Less than 10 cents a copy. So ideally we want to get it down to about 5,000 for an 80,000 run, which is what our competitor is able to get. But they do a huge co-op with the national franchise that's out there. As you can hear, we're right downtown Keene, so we're right in the hustle and bustle of the whole city, which is going to be a real plus for us once we're at full activity. We've really been sort of on the level here. of like, if you know about us, then you can come in, you can use the space, but we don't like actively advertise it.
Tell me a little bit. You mentioned members earlier. Do you become a member and that's when you get access, or is there guest access? How do you get to come down here and use the space?
If like there was a girl who just needed a place to do some painting, and so she said, "Hey, I don't have any money, but I need a place to just unwind and do some painting." I'm like, "Go ahead, do what you can on our contribute what you can, but ultimately just use the space and tell people about it." As far as people that have their own dedicated space all the while, they pay $50 a month for general access to the Makerspace, and then they rent the space at $2 a square foot. So most of these guys are paying $100 a month to share the space.
Yeah,
and
which is cheaper than renting your own square footage
space,
and retail.
Yeah, exactly.
Neat.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the rest of the building goes, I think the best way for me to express it is, this isn't in color, but this will give you an idea of what we're going for. We've got 8,500 square feet here, and there's a lot of potential. So basically, we're looking to create a space where people can find haven. Maker spaces are a common occurrence around the world now. So we'd have a space where people can just relax, get together, like kind of a third space where they can meet up and talk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then have access to digital design equipment, 3D printers. This is the actual carbon fiber 3D printer by Mark Forged that we're planning on getting. And then beyond that, we're going to be expanding beyond what traditional maker spaces are by including a rooftop greenhouse, which we have somebody working on a grant for now, along with a pop-up cafe where people can kind of come in, and just like a maker space where they access 3D printers and stuff like that, they'll be able to access a commercial kitchen space that they can operate to the public.
Make their juice or make their little treats.
And give it a shot without having to put in a huge investment.
That's really cool.
Space. So that's one of the things. Beyond that, in this room, we're actually putting in a climbing wall that'll span both these walls here, and then a dance floor that will serve as a place for people to have contact improv classes and stuff, as well as just a general performance space, so we can have small scale bands come in.
Yeah, community kind of activities with
max capacity of about 100 people. Between this space and the space that's the rest of the building has undergone huge transformations. Unfortunately, it's just kind of, in my absence, it's just been the place where we just kind of...
It's the storage unit.
Yeah, we sort of just toss everything. But basically what we did is we tore out all the walls. There was an office space here that encompasses this slab that we took down the walls on either side, so we opened it up to what was the garage space, and there was a bathroom we tore out, and we tore out the kitchen, and it was just one of those things where it's like, we're better off starting from scratch. And as a matter of fact, we're probably going to be just tearing out that whole bathroom before we go and rebuild it.
Yeah.
At this point, we had a surprise visit from the city, and so they kind of put a halt to any building progresses. We might have gotten away with putting the whole thing back. It's just short of like the wiring and plumbing, but it just whatever. Life happens.
That tends to happen.
Yeah. So basically what we've got working out here is, this is where our digital design lab's going to be. We've got these great big plate glass picture windows that I yanked out of a dumpster.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then we're going to install into that. So people from the cafe area, which will be here, that'll be the commercial kitchen space, open with a bar opened up to the seating area. They'll have a direct line of sight into the digital design lab and the window beyond. And then we're planning on putting another window into this wall, which will look into what will probably be just a large project space, because we got the garage door right there. And I'm thinking this might be a nice spot for a sound stage too. And once we clear it all out, put green screens on the wall. Nice place for people to do film work inside and stuff. And then have that supported by the digital design lab, where you have like a viewport that looks into that space, and you can control a lot of the lighting and pyrotechnics or whatever we end up doing in there. And then in that space, that was our general fab lab before the winter came and we had to close out. So right now that's pretty well jammed, packed full of stuff. And a lot of our equipment and things like that are in there. But I actually reconstructed this whole wall here.
Oh yeah, that looks new.
Yeah, this is all this 2x6 construction is brand new. basically there was a wall, as you can see the line on the floor there. That's where the wall was. It was a 2x4 wall, and as you can see, those are all 2x6s up there, but they were 24 on center, which if you know anything about code is
not enough.
Not even close to enough.
Yeah.
2x6 is like not even considered structural from the as far as joists go
right.
in the beginning, and then when you factor in the 24 on center, it's just like
flimsy,
it had huge sag in the floor and everything. So I basically doubled it all up, and then pushed this wall a little bit further back, so we opened up the space in here and had direct access to the stairs, and then we made an opening there where another one of those plate glass windows are going to go. So again, people from this space where they're doing their co-working or having their coffee or whatever will be able to see in and see all the activity in what will be basically the general fab lab, and then the wood shop beyond that. We'll end up tearing out that opposing wall as well, and then making it one big shop space in there. This is basically our what we call this it's like a vacuum chamber, so we'll end up putting an exhaust fan in there, and then when people come and go, the dust and the fumes and everything will just go up and out. So
it's like basically another layer between all the industrial sky kind of work and the hanging out.
Right, exactly. So people will it'll be safe to eat and have food.
Yeah,
here.
Sawdust isn't gonna come drifting out every time someone leaves.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
Exactly, that's the idea.
Nice.
So then upstairs, I'll show you that. This is the space where we're going to be putting a live work space.
Live work?
Live work, yeah.
Nice.
So we'll be putting an apartment up here, and basically accommodating 4 people. This was just a barn, basically. We tore up all the old flooring and everything and cleaned it up, put down a new subfloor, and then framed in the whole works.
Yeah.
That was an existing finished space. So we've got 1, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and then there's sort of a walk-through kitchen space.
Yep.
And then over in this area, we're going to be continuing the floor at this level right across to over there.
Okay.
And this will be one big upper space.
Another upper level right here.
Yeah, so it'll allow for a living room, laundry room, and another bedroom on the north side here, and then we'll open up a window there so they have.
Wow, a lot of work to do.
Yeah, lots more.
Did this place burn at some point? It
did. Yeah, there was a bad fire back in the 1950s from that hotel that burned down.
Oh, right.
Some of those flames licked up into here and did some scorching.
Yeah.
But apparently it wasn't bad enough.
Doesn't look structural. Yeah, it looks like it's okay.
Yeah, just some surface stuff. So we'll clean that all up and everything and box it all out.
Yeah.
Do what we have to.
What kind of a time frame do you have for are you hoping for at least?
Most of my lifetime.
Yeah, you think that it might take you the rest of it?
Yeah. Well, like I said, right now I'm really focused hard on generating the money that we need to just at least make a little bit of forward progress. So I would guess that these 2 maps will be out in June, and then I'm going to have my attention right onto this. We're also starting a miniature golf course at the end of the building, and with the location and the fact that there's no other mini golf courses within 5 miles from here, and there's no other sort of family-friendly activities in downtown Keene, we think it's going to be really lucrative, along with concessions and just like a performance
all the side stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about, you say, when you talk about we are doing this, is this like an organization, a group of people? Like, tell me about the
really
structure of that.
It's the pejorative we, or the
royal we.
Yeah. Or whatever it is, yeah. It's me, really just being the one every day doing it, and then once in a while we get a group of people who are helping out, and it's tough. It's a real juggling act.
I imagine,
because I came into this with no money, and I have way less now than I.
So you're not getting paid to do this. You're volunteering.
No. Yeah, I've been volunteering for about 3 years on the project, just because this is what my life is.
So that's commendable.
Decided is what I want to be all about.
Yeah.
So, one was sink or swim. Well, one day it'll work.
Yeah.
Because I won't quit until it does.
Right.
Which is nice. But It's been really important not to depend on grant money, because
That's
as soon
a
as
big,
you do that,
yeah.
then it's all conditional. It's like
I
you
agree.
have to fulfill the requirements and a full-time job to do that, you know,
Yeah.
to come up with reports and everything. So instead, we're just focusing on what needs to happen to make this thing work.
Yeah.
And I hope to keep it independent throughout the life of it.
Very nice.
At this point, it's a sole proprietorship, you know, so, and there's not that much into it. Like, I mean, my debt isn't so great compared to a lot of other business ventures that people could get into.
Right.
And there's been, in the time that we've been here, there's been a variety of huge, you know, ventures that have happened in Keene that have had, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of investment, and they all tank. So,
Yeah.
so I'm learning about emergent business,
right.
you know, learning about how to get something to come out of nothing, and
Yeah.
really catering to the needs of the people.
Well, I think that's an important topic, and it's something I was hoping to talk with you about, is the idea of creating an economy at a local level that isn't creating an economy by inviting in an oil company to create jobs, or, you know, opening up a big box store that creates jobs, but creating jobs by giving people space and opportunity to create their own businesses.
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly. I think what we need is less consumerism and more producerism.
Yeah,
you know,
I totally agree.
We need to remember that the number one resource that we have in this country, in this world, is between our ears.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is what creates reality. And when we empower people to use that space wisely, then they can make anything happen.
Totally.
Yeah.
Man, I like that, and I hope that this turns out to be a huge success, because this is exactly what I've been hoping to see and been wanting to see more of out in the world, is local opportunities, and like, you're decentralized and not dependent on grant money, not having to march to the beat of something that I consider to be part of the problem. The establishment is the reason we're in the state that we're in, and I feel like the only way for us to get out of it is to just break away from them altogether and go totally independent, even if it's a scrappier operation, even if we're not, you know, just easily, you know, getting checks cut for us for everything we need to do. We got to go out and scrounge for funds.
Right.
That's how we stay independent, I think.
Yep.
By developing that mentality.
Yeah, and then we learn the skills of independence,
right,
rather than dependence. You know, because people just get addicted to that sort of gravy train,
right?
And they're working. You know, the people out there doing terrible jobs just because they have benefits, health benefits.
Yeah.
You know? And they're unhappy and unfulfilled, and obviously they probably wouldn't trade it for being a pauper, and, you know, and not having the security
at this point. The whole goal, at least, I don't know if this is one of your goals, but for me, I would love to see there be alternatives to the rat race kind of jobs, and for people to say, you know what, I want a house, I want some security, I want some medical coverage. And I want them to have somewhere else to go to get that, but still be independent and doing their own thing.
Well, what I'd really, in the long run, the big picture of this place is I want this to be an alternative, a very feasible alternative to higher education. So when people, you know, at any age, I'm not gonna resign to, you know, high schoolers or graduates or anything like that. I'm saying any person at any age in life, when they know they're ready or are ready to explore, at least, they can come in, they can watch professionals doing their thing, they can get involved, contribute to the bottom line, and then have a job, rather than having to go to 4 years of education and you know, for an arm and a leg, and
way overpriced,
and then end up basically unemployable at the end of it, and
in huge debt,
menial job and in debt. I'd like to see kids, you know, 12 and up or whatever, you know, to come in here and get involved with an expert in their field, like a woodworker or a scientist or a writer or a musician, and really be able to excel at their pace, you know, to kind of nurture the natural learning process.
Yeah.
You know, so they can say one day they come in like, I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to be involved in this, and they do wonderful work. The next day they're like, I'd rather just hang out in the sun. That's okay.
That's totally part of the curriculum too.
Yeah, exactly. Because we would only want people here that are enthusiastic about their presence and are at their best, and so they're able to learn most efficiently.
Yeah.
So yeah, and as far as the building goes, you know, it's we really lucked out in terms of like the character of the place. This is an old bridge that was installed here during World War II when they had the steel ration. And the then owner of the place, Ellis was his surname. was a civil engineer, and he said, "Well, there's this old bridge they're taking down. I'll take that and I'll put it in my building." And he ended up using it as the support structure for the whole front.
Like a giant truss.
Yeah, huge truss. It's way underutilized, so we're gonna make use of it.
Neat.
And nothing else. It just adds an awesome feature to what will be our
Totally good
space.
character.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I think you got a really awesome opportunity here, and
Yeah.
I really commend your vision and what you're doing.
Thank
So
you.
much of what you've just said about the alternative to college, and these are things I've been thinking about and wanting to see more alternatives for young people, and as you say, people of all ages, but particularly young people who get a lot of pressure to figure out what they're going to do, to go into a business, to go into more like go into college and spend all this money, and it's mainly because there are alternatives, but they're not socially. It's a mindset of the population. The population has this mindset of, oh, college is the thing, and I feel like part of the work involves turning that around to where this becomes popularized, to where alternatives to that become cool too, and become commendable and something that's respectable for a young person to do with their life, to go into an apprenticeship or to just go take a broad study of all sorts of different life skills and pick what they want and take their time. And I think those are key things that need to happen if we're going to change the way the world works.
Yeah.
And I think you're on the cutting edge of it. So
Thanks.
really glad to see it.
For all the growing pains that there are, it's building up my repertoire of what it takes to make things like this happen.
Yeah. Awesome.
So far so good, you know.
Definitely.
As long as our landlord keeps the faith, and, and we kind of get to the point where we can show the money and show, the proof is in the pudding.
Right.
But I have confidence in myself because I know the work that I'm doing with the portal is excellent, and even if that doesn't make a ton of money, once I can kind of set that aside for a time and start to apply it back to the central headquarters here, then everything is just going to come right into shape.
Right.
Yeah, and I've got it's one of the biggest parts of this for anyone is to make sure you have a really excellent support network. You have people who are going to tell you the truth, but they're going to be really encouraging at the same time. Try to find a good partner that supports you for whoever you are and not who you will be.
Right.
That's the biggest part of it too.
Well, excellent work, man.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
I hope it goes to good use.
I hope so too. Thanks.
Cool. All right, thanks.